Hello, this is Kevin Halloran. This is Sean Halloran. This is our podcast that we try to do weekly of Halloran's Garage.
Hello.
And today we're going to kind of go over some stuff. We had people kind of wondering a little more information about tires. So we were going to try to go back over some of the stuff briefly about the different aspects of tires. So
Yeah, tires obviously are a critical part of what we're rolling around on. It is your only contact with Mother Earth from your automobile with 4 patches or more if you have a truck or something. But tires have been around. They actually have patents all the way back to 1845. They just couldn't quite figure out how to get them stiff enough and things like that. But in 1888, Belfast veterinary surgeon John Boyd Dunlop actually came up with the pneumatic tire, and that tended to start the whole ball rolling there. 1895, Andre and Edouard Michelin used a set for the race from Paris to Bordeaux. So then 1898, George Goodyear developed the vulcanizing process to make tires tougher. It ended up making it a lot, they lasted a lot longer instead of coming apart so quickly. And in 1900, Firestone Tire and Rubber Company was founded. 1931, synthetic rubber was developed by DuPont, again increasing the strength of the tire and making it last longer and getting more wear out of it, and being a little more puncture resistant and things like that. 1948, after the war, they actually Michelin came up with the first radial in Europe, and they developed the 90-degree carcass that actually strengthened and enhanced the life of the tire and enhanced the safety of the thing. So, but a little brief history on it. Performance tires. We talk about the truck tires and things like that. There's a whole set of stuff to them. We'll mainly focus on what is in light duty trucks and in cars and in performance cars. In 1969. B.F. Goodrich came up with the 60 series tire, which was really interesting. And so that started kind of to develop a tire that was a little stiffer sidewall, a little shorter sidewall than some of the bigger bias ply tires they'd come out with. So made it something that they were starting to think about shortening the sidewalls and increasing, turn-in and things like that. So,
yeah. Right. Well, you talked about, the radial when it came to be, when it first was developed, but they really didn't become popular till the 1970s. Right. I know Pontiac came out with their radial tune suspension, so called. I actually had, we both had a friend that first time he put radials on a car, he hated them because to him they were unpredictable. He said they were holding good, and then all of a sudden they just let loose, sliding, and he said, I spun out and wrecked the car. And he blamed it on the tires. But tire technology has gotten so much better. And our father would talk about taking a trip not too far from home here
down to Hinton,
West Virginia, down where our Uncle Earl is. And he said it was not unusual to have at least a flat tire every time they went down there or back, because tires just were not that good.
They weren't that durable.
The construction of them wasn't that good.
And early on, they were high pressure. They were trying to support the tire by the pressure that they put in them. So they might be 60 or 80 pounds, and so that's just it depletes the comfort level with the tire, but also does put it under a tremendous amount of pressure when you catch something sharp on it.
Well, and we're going to talk about the DOT codes and the speed ratings and the different the ratings that are on the side of your tire here. Talking about raising the tire pressure so high. My 73 Firebird, I had 25 plus year old tires. They're probably closer to 35 years old. And I needed to move them because they were gone flat. And I pumped them up and probably about 40 pounds. Make sure they were going to hold air long enough for me to move it around. And it was fine. It just sat there, and I parked it again. My son lives over top of where it is, and he said, he called me and said, "Dad, it sounds like something fell over in the garage." Well, apparently all 4 tires exploded. So, I wish I still had pictures of those, because those were pretty scary looking.
The carcass had come apart from the rubber carcass had come loose from the main body of the tire.
Well, the whole tread just peeled off.
Yeah, it was amazing. So,
it was, and then the wire cord was sticking out all over the place. It was scary.
Yeah, it was not good.
No. But as we've talked about before in maintenance, tires have a date code, and you'll look at and it's listed as a DOT number on the side of the tire, and it's a 4-digit code. The first 2 digits are the month of the year. The last
week of
the week of the
week
year. I'm
of
sorry,
the
the
year.
week of the year. Yeah, sorry.
52 months.
Yeah,
or 52 weeks. God, I'll get it right too. So
I'm messing up all over. 52 weeks out of the year. And I'm going to show different samples of what we've found on different tires we have ourselves. I have my '01 Ram that the spare on it is still the original spare. It's rated at 0901, which means it's the 9th week of 2001.
Ancient tire.
Ancient tire. If I ever have to put that tire on as a spare,
It's going to be very temporary.
it's going to be very temporary. Get me off the highway, and that's about it. And at very low speeds, because I'm not going to risk that tire.
No.
And now the rest of the tires on it, they are old too. I need to replace them because they are marked as 14th week of 2012. They're way past their age limit. 10 years is about it. And you really don't want to go much past that. Now, I'm not as...
You've got a few violations there, but,
Yeah. And then we have an MGA that I was looking at the tires look great. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, I've got plenty of tread." Yeah, well, that's not what's important.
Yeah.
The tires on it, now granted, it doesn't weigh very much, and it's but I really need to be looking at replacing them, and they're actually too big a tire anyways. They are listed as 06 of 11. So they're, the 6th week of 2011.
15 years old.
Yeah. So now everything, and then Sean's got your tires on your police car are your new tires on it are
16 of 25.
25. And
my spare is what did we say? 06 of 10, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So
right.
Anyway, it
and then
I don't even know how that one's. The car's a 13 model. That is very odd that it's that old. So
yeah.
Anyway,
the tires on my Grand Sport are the 18th week of 22. We have our Jeep is the 10th week of 22. I have a company car which is the 9th week of 25. That's a 25 Subaru Crosstrek. We have our Audi that we just took the Firestones off. They had some broken belts. You could see the waves in the sidewall, and they just roared, and they felt awful. And I replaced them with some new Michelins. The old tires were 17 of 24. They weren't even that old, but they were almost worn out too. And we bought the car with those on there. Now the new tires on it are the 26th and 27th week of 25. So anyway, it's something you need to look at. Just look for that DOT number, and
usually in an oval, there's an oval spot. We'll put up some pictures of some of the examples there, but it's just an oval spot, and it's imprinted. And again, the first 2 numbers are the week of the year, and then the year is the next 2 numbers. So,
generally molded into the rubber.
Molded right into it. Yeah.
So that's something you need to look at. Just when you get to 5 years old, you need to start looking at new tires.
Yeah.
I realize, like I say, just because it's got tread doesn't mean it's good to use.
Yeah. 10 would be an extreme amount of time to keep a tire, honestly. So,
right.
But
and then we've got the other ratings that are on the tire that are, and I'm sorry for all the noise there. We have the what they call the uniform tire quality grading, it's listed as UTQG on the side of the tire. So you got the tread wear number, you got the temperature rating number, and you got the traction rating number. The tread wear ratings
Are based off of 100.
Yeah, they're based off of 100. The government says that 100 is roughly 10,000 miles. So if it says 100 on the side of the tire, 100 is about the most you're going to get out of that tire. That doesn't mean if you abuse that tire, that's going to still last 10,000 miles.
If you track it, it might disappear in a weekend.
That's right. I mean, there are track tires that are actually. I had some
0.
I had some. What were they? The
Hoosier
Autocross tires, which were tread wear rated 0.
0, yeah.
They were like paper thin. I've got some friends out there that are probably still using them. I don't know if they're used. I don't know. Maybe they don't have the bias plies anymore
I'm not really sure.
for autocrossers. Maybe they're all radials now. But and then if it's 200, that's 20,000 miles. We've got these all season Michelins, which are like 540, which should be about 54,000 miles. Do I think I'm gonna get that many miles out of them? Don't know.
Probably not, but that's all right.
Then we've got the temperature ratings. Now those are listed as A, B, and C, and they are the best is rated at as being A, and that means the tire can be over 250 degrees and over 115 miles an hour. That will help survive. You have the traction, the temperature rating of B, which is between 100 and 115 up to 250 degrees. Then you have the C rating, which is 85 to 100, and it's only up to 230 degrees. Then you have the traction rating, which is really more for wet weather braking and handling. AA is the highest. There's only about 15% of the tires on cars on the road that are rated at AA. The one that is the most is traction rating A, which there's like 77% of the tires out there that actually are that rating, and they are still rated as excellent. The AA's are exceptional, what they rate those at. B are just good or adequate, and there's only 7% of the tires out there that are rated at that. And if you got a C rating for traction, that's really poor. There's less than 1%.
It's black and round. Yeah.
yeah, barely. But anyway, most of the tires are rated at an A. And then we've got what else we have? We have
you have your aspect ratio, you have your tire width, and of course your diameters and things like that. So there's the other aspect of it, which is the width of the tire in millimeters. So if, for instance, it's a 295/35/18, that's what I run on my Corvette. It's 295 millimeter tread patch across the surface there. Then you have your 35 on. In this case, it could be 50, it could be 60, it could be 25 or something low like that. That's just a percentage of the tread width that is actually going to be your side wall.
Right.
So so if you have a 35, it's 35% of the tread width. And then, of course, your last number being the 18, in this case, is an 18-inch diameter rim. Right. So you can have a 10 on a Mini Cooper, or you can have a 20 on a new Silverado.
Well, we're talking old original Mini Cooper.
Original, yes, correct.
A 10 or 12 might be that. Now, the newer ones are, I think, 15, 16, 17, whatever.
Yeah.
They're much larger because the cars are much larger too. They're not the little tiny things that those were. But you can actually figure out roughly what the tire height is by that those numbers.
The tire width, aspect ratio, and diameter.
By 25% of that 335, you can double that, and then you can convert that to inches by multiply that times 25.4, which will give you inches, and then you add in the rim width, which in my case is a 20, which it'll tell you how tall the tire is. Then you got
we got our speed ratings. That's the other thing that comes in. And, you know, people say, well, I don't ever drive at that speed. That's not really the point of getting a good speed rated tire. If you do any performance driving, you know, maybe you don't ever go above 100 miles an hour. It doesn't really matter. You're looking for the sidewall construction, the carcass construction of the tire. Obviously, the lower the number, if you've got an L speed rating, that's 75 miles an hour. But then you've got for say an exotic sports car, you've got a Y. It's up to 186 or above, you know, but you've got everything in between. A W is 168, a V is 149, an H is 130, a U is 124, and they continue down. An S is 112 miles per hour. So, you know, but you're looking for that sidewall construction and strength out of that tire to help do whatever you're doing with it, whether you're driving it or whether you're autocrossing or whether you're tracking it or whatever. That can help guide you into that. Don't put an L series tire on a car that regularly could do 150 miles an hour. You're going to be in trouble. So,
well, even going to like using a T or a V rating. I mean, on a car that's capable of, you know, well beyond that. You don't want to do that.
Right.
If the car is capable of, you need to pick the tire that is
capable with that.
Capable of that.
Right.
You know, whether you ever go that speed or not.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because if somebody does.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference in the way the car handles those tires. I mean.
Well, tires have, you know, if we're talking about performance tires, they have taken they just seem to take quantum leaps. They seem to have slowed a little bit here, but even like in IMSA, you know, they've tried this new tire pattern that is on the Michelin. It's just amazing, you know, but they heat up quicker. They're looking for them to heat up quicker and to be active and really on point all of a sudden, you know, by getting the temperature up. If you've got a slick, it might take a lap, possibly a lap or two, to get the tires fully up to temperature. Well, you could get passed by half the field if that's, you know, if you don't have it up to temperature. But they've come up with a tread pattern that seems to work well to get it up to temperature quicker, so that they're live quicker. So,
right. Well, I think that new tire that Michelin has for at least for IMSA. Those are actually, I think, mostly recycled.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right,
and it's a very strange looking tire. I'll make sure I've got a picture of it.
Sure,
here,
absolutely.
Because I know I've got a few from when we were in Daytona.
But it's interesting to look at, look at the sidewalls of tires. When we were talking about the first radials and things like that coming out, and they were still a pretty good sized sidewall and things like that. But then BF Goodrich coming up with a 60 series tire in 1969. You know, in 1970, they literally tested it on a race car. The BF Goodrich TA radial. 1 million people have heard that. You know, great performance tire just for what it is, and but they actually stuck it on 3 Firebirds and ran races with them. The Titus Godsall started with BF Goodrich in the Tire Bird program, so they
the radial tire bird.
Yeah, so they literally took a street tire, ran it on the track, did well with it. It wasn't without issue, but it just showed what they could do. And their thought was in doing this, here they went to most sport and got 3rd place for their first race. And then the next weekend they went to Watkins Glen, ended up winning both Saturday and Sunday. Now, it still had issues, but it proved that you could take a street tire and, in the way they were looking at it, win a race, drive it home, which is really cool. But that really started that ball rolling.
And you won't do that today. I mean,
no, not likely.
But there are now. We have been talking about like some of these new tires we've been using. About you could probably track on a lot of these tires now. I mean, like a track day or you don't have to have race tires. Or race DOT tires.
Yeah, I'm doing that myself. I'm running my Bridgestones to the track, running all weekend, driving the car home. I've gotten to the point that I don't like to I'm finished trailering and having the tow rig and having the trailer and all that, and I thought, I'll just get something. So I've run a 200 tread wear tire. It does fine. I so far haven't had any trouble with any of that. So they work out great. Right. So
well, and what I find amazing with the tire technology now, like I'm using most of my tires now on my our personal vehicles are the new Michelin All Season 4. And I've used, I went to do the autocross down there 2 years ago down in Alabama, and I autocrossed on it. Well, everybody in my class was running a 200 treadwear tire. I came in second out of 6, and I beat probably 75% of the cars at the event. And they were coming around after the event was over and taking pictures of everybody's tires. They wanted to see what the treadwear rating was. They wanted to see what size they were. They wanted to see all this different stuff to see, you know, who was running what.
Right.
And it's amazing how much grip these new tires, some of these new tires have.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to say all are like that, but and what convinced me to buy these tires, one of the engineers that designed this tire is in our Audi club. And I put them first on our Audi A3 diesel, and I was amazed with those, and I've put them on everything else since. And and that's not to say that there's not some good Pirellis or something else out there. I mean, they're, you know, these are the ones that I find are just amazing, and they all, like I say, tire technology is just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, from the days that we started autocrossing back in the early '80s, you know, what you see now with the you know, with what they've come up with, tires that don't last as long. If you've got say a Hoosier, it used to be the R. I think it's R7, R8. I'm not sure which one they have now, but you know, you might get a weekend out of them, and then they've taken a pretty steep dive off in traction wise. But that traction, God, for those glorious moments, you've got this fantastic tire, and you know, if you need lap times, that's where you land. And
yeah, well, I mean, and I know I've been to autocrosses, not just track days, but I've been to autocrosses where the tire people will be there, and somebody make a run or two, and they go buy another set of tires and put on the car. It's like, oh my God, you know. We had a guy that came to one of our events that was SCCA national champion. I mean, this was back in the 80s.
It would have been like 87, 8, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and he was sponsored by BF Goodrich and
yellow Corvette.
Yep. And he just came here. He called us because we were having like the first autocross of the whole year. He called me up when I was RE and said, "I understand you're having autocross in January." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'd like to come." I said, "Well, look."
Come on.
I said, "Come on," but I said, "I'm going to tell you right now, our events are on little parking lots. They aren't on the big things you're used to." So,
Right.
And there was some of the guys thought they were going to beat him, and he just smoked everybody. Of course, he was running like every weekend of the year. But like I say, the tire technology is amazing. I remember when talking about coming out with 60 series tires, and we had a guy that showed up at one of the first autocrosses I did when I had my Camaro. And he showed up with a Trans Am. Well, he had the WS6 suspension on it. And he had two 6550s on the front that he came up with. And he came up with two 9550 15s on the back. I was like, oh my God.
Biggest tire we'd seen.
50 series tires. And the 295, that was
just huge.
I mean, that was huge. I don't know what he did to keep him from rubbing on the inner fender, but
Ignored it.
either beat the heck out of it with a BFH or ignored it. I don't know which. Of course, I did beat him that day, so I was happy with that. But yeah, and now we're talking, 25 series tires. And a friend of mine that we bought the Boxster from, I mean, he's like, when's it going to be just a rubber band just stretched over a rim? And
just about there.
It's not far from it.
It's not far from it. Yeah,
So anyway,
but if you're messing with tire sizes and things like that, it is important to know this information. And if you want to run, say you don't have a big budget and you want to autocross and you're trying to be competitive or whatever, and you need to shorten your gear ratios or something, you can do that by putting a shorter tire on. Go from a 70 or 65 series down to a 50 or something like that, and you can do that. It shortens up your gearing, makes it a little bit quicker. And conversely, as you were pointing out, Dad liked to put a little bit bigger tires on the Volkswagen or the Oldsmobile, and so he was looking to increase the fuel mileage by making it a larger tire.
And the tread life.
Tread life. Yeah,
he was trying to get the most mileage out of the tires for what he could put on the car. Now I'm not sure what that did to his speedometer and what have you, but Dad didn't really care because he wanted to get, he was trying to make the most of his dollar. So,
That's right. Yeah. So.
But and we've in the past we autocrossed Subarus when we went from like 70 series tires down to
50s
and stuff, trying to squeeze as much, increase the acceleration of the car and the handling and everything as much as we could. This was back when they were Subaru hatchbacks, back in the
Overhead
early
valve.
80s. Yeah, a little 1600 overhead valve with 69 horsepower.
69 horsepower, raging horsepower.
Yeah, that was just awesome.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
Put fear into the likes of everybody.
yeah, they didn't like it too well. But
Yeah.
anyway, we hope this helps out today. We're,
Absolutely.
if you have any other questions, please email us or something.
Speak up. We're not experts at it, but just a lot of information you can gather up, and it can help you guide your tire choice for what you're doing with the vehicle.
Right.
If you've got a truck and you haul a lot, you want to look at your load range. If you're towing, you want to look at your load range. And conversely, in a sports car, you're looking for something that's got a good sidewall carcass. If you're looking for lots of traction, make sure it hits the tread wear, hits the traction, and all these different things to get to make a good choice in what you're buying. So,
Well, you also want to, if you're off-roading, you want to make sure you have the proper tire for that. Now, if you got a vehicle's got lockers and stuff on it, you may get by with the like the BF Goodrich KO2s or something. If you are running through mud and everything and you don't have lockers, you might want to have the mud tire.
right, sure, absolutely.
Something with lots of lugs on it that'll help dig down. And you also want a tire when off-roading. Generally, you lower the tire pressures while you're out there, so that your tire kind of
Conforms around the different
terrain.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So but you want to make sure that the sidewall is tough enough that takes that. I mean, some of these tires don't have as good a sidewall as others, but that's another topic we can talk about later.
Yeah. But we hope what we have brought up with you is helpful. If you would like and subscribe, we would love that. We can also be found at halloransgarage@gmail.com. You can respond back.
We also have the Halloran Garage Facebook page.
And love to hear from you, and any kind of comments or things you want to give us a hard time about, absolutely do.
Yeah.
And want to talk about raging 69 horsepower Subarus, you can do that. So, but anyway, but we do appreciate it. Thank you very much. This is
Absolutely.
Halloran's Garage.
Thank you very much.